Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today, one of my time and attention friends is joining me, and we're going to have a detailed, deep dive conversation on the impact that bots are having in Splinterlands right now. This is at the highest levels. This is in guild brawls. This is in tournaments, and there's a red flag being raised. Is this heading down a path where this game is ultimately becoming automated DeFi protocols, or is this a video game that we're going to play and enjoy? I'm not sure I have all the answers, but this conversation is one that I hope we take seriously. I hope the developers hear because I'm starting to see the far reach of botting programs can be in this game. And it might bring us to a place, if we're not careful, that ultimately humans don't even need to play. That it strictly becomes this automated DeFi. And I don't want that. And I think you don't want that. So let's talk about it and let's share these concerns, if we have these concerns, with the developers. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. Hey, guys, Infidel 1258 here. I'm hanging out with special guest Oscu, or dude, help me pronounce your in-game name for me.
It's Louis Nikisa.
We've spoken before many times because we are both time and attention, and we've talked about guild stuff. We've talked about Splinterlands. We've talked about economy. We've co-invested in this bulk buy for Chaos Legion back when. So a lot of kind of like really last 2 years of growing almost this partnership, and it's been a great conversation. And recently you reached out to me to talk about the bot issue that we raised, or that has been this growing thing in the background of Splinterlands. I think there's a distinction between bot and then bot farm. And I think there's an argument to be had there, like where is the line? And I think that's maybe where we're going today. But I actually want to invite you to introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about how Splinterlands, the journey for you has been. And then I want to move into a time of converse, talking about your thoughts on bots and seeing what you have to say about this topic, because I'm hoping that this might help our community actually grow an understanding of where what is that line between, if you have 10 accounts, for instance, and you run bots on every one of them, are you a bot farm? I don't know really. So yeah, Oscar, let us know a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me and letting kind of share my ideas about the topic. I started Splinterlands in 21, like a lot of us, and started investing heavily, like you said, with the bulk buy. We did the bulk buy as a preparation for the launch of Chaos Legion, and you have the numbers better in mind. How much did we total in this bulk buy? How many packs did we buy? Do you remember?
I know very, very close to 69,000. 69,608 is what we ended up buying. It started lower, but then we kind of topped up as we went. So it just kept growing, almost 70,000 packs, which was initially, it was 220,000 US dollars paid, collected, and then paid. So that was a wild, wild moment for me, even, let alone like all you guys just trusting me.
It was very wild. I remember discussions with my wife, and she said, like, "Who are you sending this money?" And I was like, "No, no, we can trust him. We can trust him." So it was really a big trust that we put into you, but you paid back 100 times. So that was really where this wonderful journey started with the both of us. I joined shortly before this. I think I joined TNA and still being there, being an officer in the guild. Shortly after, I started playing to be very competitive in the Silver League. Beginning of 22, this was, I think, in February, for about 8 months, and I ranked usually under the top. I would say in in the beginning it was top 10, and in the end it was more top 6.
Hmm.
So I was really good, really competing in there. I'm a very competitive nature, and I wanted to become one of the best players in the league.
Hmm.
At the time, it was a lot of fun. I learned so much. You gave a kickstart by delegating, well, a big chunk of your deck and your best cards to me for Wild. It was really an absolute amazing journey. Um, and at this time, we already had bots, more in the form of bot farms.
Hmm.
But to be honest, and like Agi mentioned, like way back, they're pretty easy to beat.
Hmm.
And I thought the same thing because I had the max deck. I was really good at the game, so they never caused a problem. I didn't bother with them, to be honest.
Hmm.
And I never realized that bots are used, like you said. One part of the bot discussion are the bots on ground level and the lower leagues, where the numbers kind of really big bot farms of 5,000, 10,000 accounts that were farming.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bots that I did not see at that time, that was the high level bots competing in champ and extracting money and rewards at this level.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, First time encountering bots was really in the Silver League. No problem. First time encountering the bots in the higher leagues was when I decided to up my game and build a Chaos Legion champion deck,
Mm-hmm.
and later on, which I enriched with all Rift Watcher cards, also at max level.
Yeah.
So I would say I have a pretty good investment into the newer cards. I would say probably in between. I would say between 10 and 15,000 investment.
Wow. Hey, I'm looking at your
Yeah.
deck now, and I'm just so you got now. Is everything I'm looking at actually I can go owned? So
Yeah, you can go owned, and you will see most of them are owned.
mm-hmm. So you've got obviously a very strong Chaos Legion deck because, like we said, we did the Chaos Legion bulk buy, and then you have some strong untamed choices over here. You've got two level two Kitty, you got a level two Yoden. Are, are This is a bit of a digression. I don't want to steer away, but just quickly, do you feel level two is fine for those some of these key cards, Kitty, Yoden, in a context of trying to play in gold or higher, or did they not get a lot of play unless you're staying at those lower leagues?
Those two, they are delegated to my alt account, which is more playing in gold and diamond at the end of the league.
Gotcha.
So there they are useful, but they're absolutely not competitive if it comes to
Okay.
climbing the gold ladder in the beginning of the league or later in diamond and trying to get to champ. So you definitely need those really, really strong cards at the respective level. I'm currently not renting them because the rentals are just too expensive. I think
Yeah.
it's 1,200 for a Jodin level 4, and it's about 2,200 or 400 for a kitty per day.
There's so many ways we could go with this. I almost want to talk about like a million things, but I want to stay on topic and I want to ask you.
Yeah.
You said or you implied that there's at one point the bot problem or bot situation was really like that lower level side. That was where we saw it. That's where we felt it. And kind of who cares? That was your attitude, maybe, if I'm hearing you right. And that was, I think, a lot of people's attitude. It's just at bronze. It's just at silver. If you want to get away from the bots, climb. That's what I used to say, in fact. And
Yeah.
until honestly last week, where I tried XBOT and was like, wow, this thing blew from Diamond 1 into Champ 2 for me at the with 4 or 5 days left. And I
Yeah.
don't know if I've ever been in Champ 2. Maybe I have. Hang on. Well, it doesn't matter. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But with 4 or 5 days left, it's very unusual for me to reach there, and I play in wild, not modern. And so
Yeah.
I don't have the strongest wild deck. I actually have some key cards, but I certainly have more of a modern deck than anything, and I lack a ton of the key monsters. But for me to just move from D1, where I usually squeak into champion 3 right at the end of the season, I mean the last hours, this thing blows into champ 2 in with 4 or 5 days left in the season, which to me is when the competition is almost at its highest. People are really trying to put themselves at the best place possible. So I guess my question is, are you saying that you really feel now bots are controlling? Is that what I'm hearing? That you're seeing more and more? You feel that they're actually becoming to a place where they are, everyone's using them? Is that what I'm hearing from you, even at the highest levels?
Yeah. Maybe I want to take a step back when I first encountered them in
Okay.
the higher leagues.
Okay.
Um, I made the step to first advance to gold and then to diamond and eventually to champ
Yeah.
with my new deck.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm a good player, I had no problem adapting quickly, and by the time um, the earnings were good enough so that I could rent Untamed and Dice and had a really competitive deck. So it was really easy to climb to champ 2, to be honest, in modern.
Mm.
This is what I did, and by the time I did not realize that some high-level players were using bots, especially um, almost everyone from Immortal Gods, because they have the Bubkey bot, and they just let it run, and it was awesome. It was really awesome. But I didn't realize that it was that awesome because I had a complete deck with Kitty, with Yodin, with Llama, with everything, and every last card on the planet. So I had a pretty good win rate. I would say win rate was between 60 and 65 in champ. So I didn't realize that. But then somebody told me, and then came the time when I was not able to rent those cards because the income from SPS lost a lot of value, or the price of SPS went down, so I could not exchange it for as much DEC as before, so I couldn't rent as much.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I got crushed by those bots. I had not a chance. I probably won 2 out of 8 games or 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just frustrating.
Yeah.
No, this was when I started having discussions with other people in the community,
Yeah.
and they told me about Archmage. At this time, it was Archmage, and the top spot in the modern and in the wild format
Mm-hmm.
was occupied by a guy called Starshroud. And this guy was just having an experimental version of Archmage,
Mm-hmm.
like an advanced version, and it just won against everybody. And more people began using this. And this ended in me fighting to get into Champ instead of being comfortably there, Champ 3, Champ 2. So then I realized, well, something is kind of off. I invested so much money,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not have the cards to beat those bots. And then I saw all those town halls, and I got frustrated because Matt and Aggie kept saying, well, it's so easy to beat them. Yeah, of course, if you have a, let's say, a full silver and or full gold deck, and you're playing bots from a bot farm that are catered to play in bronze,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually they move up because of rating inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, they're easy to beat,
Mm-hmm.
but not if they have every card on the planet and a database of I don't know how many thousands of games
Mm-hmm.
to see what lineups were the most successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was I wrote it down here. I have a kind of like a memo here, and I said like, what were my first reactions to this? I was angry at myself that I couldn't beat them.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, hopelessness kept adding to this desperation. I could not beat them. I was earning less and less, and yeah, I thought like, well, I have to reflect on first on the game, and I also have to reflect on kind of the future and kind of who is using them, why is somebody using them, and this is probably something that you also touched in many videos or streams that I've seen from you with other people, but also looking at Aftersound or kind of when he's inviting Darkest Night, who was playing a lot of games
Mm-hmm.
and who changed to completely let the bot play for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a guild temporarily, a very successful guild, and I asked the guys, and they say like, well, whenever we don't have the time, we let the bot play. So I realized that there are a lot of people with very deep decks that simply let the bot play a lot of the time. So I had to have kind of to ask myself, why do people do this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I came up with a bunch of ideas. Probably you find yourself among one of them. First thing was to save up time while still earning. The next was to let the collection earn while you don't have the time to play. This is probably something that I've heard from you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a day job, you have a family, and sometimes there's simply not enough time to use the ECR to kind of to make the most out of it.
Yeah.
Then we have the people who say like, well, the game is not fun for them anymore, but they still invested a lot of money and want something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are the guys who say, because I can. Then you have the others, like I'm more in this under this category because you're frustrated of losing against high-level bots. And then there are those who say, well, the bot plays better than me, why should I?
Mm.
And please tell me if I forgot a group, but this is kind of the different groups with different views and expectations.
Yeah, I mean that resonates as accurate to me. One thing that I immediately think when I hear that, like a couple things you said, the bots have a database of knowledge across thousands and thousands of, like probably tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of battles that they're relying on, and so their accuracy is like so can be so astonishing in terms of knowing the right meta pick, not just from like, hey, today I'm feeling like I'm into blue. I want to check out what blue can do with the new possibilities or whatever. That's what humans do. We're like, hey, today I'm kind of bored of playing dragon. Let's try, that's what humans do. But like a bot's like mathematically what works here, and they've got that data pool set. And then you talked about how they can have access to all the cards. I guess you were speaking about through rental. And ultimately it translates to they're not easy to beat. And I hear that and I agree with that. I think I'm seeing that more and more. I guess where my pushback comes in here is like, I think I concede all the points you're making, and I'm only recently learning this, to be honest. Like you said, Matt Nagy speaking about how easy it is. No, just beat them. They're just easy, and that's been almost my opinion recently until I tried this XBOT. And I guess my question to you is, what is the big deal if we all do run it? Like if it, let's say everyone has access to it, and maybe right now they don't, but where do you see a problem? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, with maybe 100% of the people having access to this sort of tool on a basis of not, I don't mean every game forever, we just walk away from Splinterlands. I actually mean, like I talked about in my recent video, where I'm going to let the bot play, like you said, when I'm too busy, when the kids need me, when I'm on vacation, whatever these different variables are. And then I'm still going to play the game for fun, however much I'm capable of doing so. Do you see a problem with that? I think I'm maybe hearing that you see a problem with that. Can you, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Can you help me understand your view on that?
I would say it's a very philosophical question
Mm.
that you're asking. I think in general, most people who have a decent sized deck and collection, they have the means to buy one of the helpers. Could be XBOT, could be Archmage, or I'm pretty sure some others will pop up very soonish. I think that's already the case. It's not if people had access, it's like it's already there. And the question that I ask me is, do we want to have what was there was an expression that Mondroid, also one of the community members, you probably know him. I think he's playing Clove's deck right now in Wild.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very good player too. He played with me in Silver for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something like, what was it? Like automated DeFi protocol?
Let me
Because
think that
if
automated DeFi proto. Yeah. Okay. I could kind of see that.
because if we all let bots play, it's nothing more than a DeFi protocol. Because what we expect is that the bot gives us a certain return on our investment without doing anything.
Mm. Yeah.
And this is a bit from this stance. I'm probably too much of a fan of the game and probably too much of a competitive person
Mm-hmm.
to let this just sit.
Yeah.
And this is probably my biggest problem, because most people in this game, there are a lot of people who enjoy playing the game. But from having a look at a lot of the Splinterlands TV content and all the other guys in math chat and whatever, they don't say no when the team implements or proposes things kind of that encourage playing less. Take the example of the new energy change. It's a very recent thing. You're most probably in all leagues locked to the 24 games per day. Okay, theoretically there's 50, but after the first day, it's 24 games, and that's it. You need to pay in order to play more. So the encouragement to play more is not really there, no matter the league. And the same thing is a bit with bots. It's common knowledge that almost everybody who wants has access to those bots. I'm just thinking about Jim the other day. I was on a stream when he put up a a bid for XBOT, and he was very lucky to get it for 150 Hive. And he sold it. I saw the other stream of him the other day with you, and he sold it for 230 or something. Great deal.
Yeah.
Great buy, great flip.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. But if we have everybody having access to this and everybody lets it run because, and there are several reasons, because the bot does better than the human, you don't even have to invest time into it. And kind of the rewards that he gets out of the game for you are much higher. So it also aims at not incentivizing players to play. And this is where I have a problem with it. Like a more philosophical, it's not something tangible, or that I'm frustrated if I play every 10th game against a human player and not every second or third game. No, it's more like the general underlying, how to put this, kind of, I'm probably missing the English words here, kind of the basic intent is probably a good way to put it.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Yeah, it's like, is this a game that we play, or is this that automated DeFi protocol that you mentioned? That's, because there's a distinction. Is this a fun game that we want to we want to sell to the world in a sense, like, hey, come enjoy playing this game, or is the pitch, hey, this is an automated, collectible card game, auto brawler, DeFi protocol where you can essentially stake money and garner profit? Because those are two different roads. And
yes,
I guess I agree with you that there's a degree of that happening. And I don't yet know if I even have a firm opinion about how far we are down the DeFi protocol road. But I also have this sense that some of it is okay, and yet I don't want it to be entirely that. But I also feel, and this I can't hold up exactly some sort of piece of proof about this fact, about what I'm about to say, but I feel that it won't ever become a place where it's exclusively that DeFi protocol, because it's always going to have, at least players like me, and I think like you, and Butter said he loves being competitive in it. Aren't we always going to strive to enjoy it as much as we can? I think so. Now, I guess that becomes a slippery slope, as I've heard people say that these bots are effective in tournaments, they're effective in brawls. That begins to change what I'm saying, because I guess you could get to a place where they literally could do everything better. They could, and another thing is, well, one of the components that's fun about this game is the access of, exploring the marketplace, finding the right cards that would grow your deck. And I say regularly on the channel, everyone's deck has certain holes in it, and you can patch those, effectively with one choice, but maybe better with another. You have to discern that and navigate that yourself. And that's the market that's the game of Splinterlands, the marketplace. And then finding the best bargain for those, whether it's through rentals or through purchases, bid buying on those things. There's all of that is a right now, I think, a human expert component of this game. But maybe even that, I've heard about bots. Like somebody told me, I don't know which bot, but you can just it will rent the cards it wants. And in some, is it? So, I mean, let's talk about that for a moment, because it feels as though what I'm saying is I think there's components of this game that are really human. There's always going to be a component of this game that is, enjoyable for the human. It's never going to be entirely automated, but maybe that's another example perhaps of how it is moving more and more and more closer to entire automation. Do you think like that, first of all, are those is that capacity for it to rent? I don't know anything about it. Is it sophisticated? Is it reliable? Is it, a
Yes.
powerful tool?
Yes. Yes, it is. And the only weakness at the moment about this is basically you tell the bot I want to play in champ. And then the bot and then you give him a budget. And with this budget he goes and rents the best possible deck for you based on his algorithms. And those algorithms change all the time. Every day they get thousands of new games into the database. You can't win as a human, especially with the more rule sets that they just introduced into the system, kind of into the game. This is what the bot does for you, and you
Wow.
just put the cap on the budget there.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
It's
that can go to a
it's
place, can't it, where it's like,
amazing.
what are we adding to the besides the budget? What are we doing besides being the wallet? Can't it?
Here we go. That's a bit my fear, and this is also my criticism about kind of the whole topic. I have here, you spoke about the usage of them not only in ranked, where I encountered them in the beginning, but also in tournaments and brawls. There is a service offered by XBOT, which is called XBOT Helper. I don't know, do you know it?
No.
Basically, what it does is as soon as, or in the past, you had to have an Xbox bot token,
Mm-hmm.
and with this token, you had access to basically a free service that gave you the best lineup based on the whole database in a given rule set. The only thing that you had to do is start the game until you come to the selection of the summoners,
Mm-hmm.
and then what's it called? I can read it to you because I have Export Helper as well. You write the following. Where is it? Here he is. The only thing you have to write is exclamation mark teams, your in-game name, M, and then you press enter. You wait 15 seconds, and then you get the 5 best team combinations based on summoner and first position and so on. And you simply put this into the system. This works equally for tournaments as well for brawls. And it's shockingly good.
Hmm.
I played a champ tournament probably 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
just using this and copying what XBot told me. I got 3rd or 4th place in the tournament,
Wow.
and I didn't rent a kitty or Yodin or whatever. Crazy good.
Hmm.
Brawls is the same thing. By the time that I tried to use it in Brawls, it did not include Gladius cards yet,
Mm-hmm.
but they have added the feature.
Before we started this conversation, before we went live, we talked about how you've only got about an hour, and it's almost coming up on a half an hour. Surprisingly, I want to tell you that I'm feeling a little bit black pilled. Like this is a bit like concern. These are like eye opening facts. Like I didn't understand this helper. I didn't understand the impact on tournaments. You talk about 3rd place, and you didn't even have some of those key cards. Do you feel like this is? Let's ask one more question on this topic, if it's okay with you. Unless there's something really key that you want to get at. First of all, if there's something really key you want to speak to, please do. Second of all, my question is, does this leave you in a place where you're like feeling hopeless about the eventual destination of this road? Like, are we getting to a place where it won't be enjoyable? Are we getting to a place where this is it's all the fun is going to be burnt out because of this? Where's your head at, on maybe your heart at on that one?
Well, my heart is with the game. I love the game. You know that I love the game. I love to be competitive, and I love to try out things. And Well, this is the road that Splinterlands has picked. They know about everything. They knew about the PUBG bot. They know about XBOT. They know about Archmage, and they don't want to do anything against it. So this was also where I was confronted with the question: should I keep playing, or should I do it myself, like botting? And I came to the conclusion to say, like, look, if you can't beat them, join them. And uh, for me, it was a conscious decision. It's very, I think it's a very alarming signal for the game in general. If one of the most, or I'm counting myself on one of the emotionally probably a lot invested players,
Mm-hmm.
competitive one. I play tournaments, leaderboard, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
really like the game. I really like learning and getting better.
Mm-hmm.
If I say I stop playing and let the bot play.
Yeah. Yeah. That's there's so much more to be said on this because it's also there's this broader conversation of what would even be done, like what, and I don't want to. I feel like this has been a conversation. Maybe it's a conversation for another day, but I do think I'm a little bit concerned by some of the things you're kind of opening my eyes to. And that doesn't mean I won't. I'll stop playing. It doesn't mean I'm not excited. It doesn't mean I won't. I'm still. I did the where I'm at right now is like I'm going to continue using the bot when I can't, and I'm going to enjoy the game when I can. I make a lot of choices in Splinterlands that are not optimally revenue generating. I think if I was to just stop playing and rent my deck out, I would. Last I checked, I would have garnered like $500 I think it was a month, you just passively, and
Yeah.
and that's with DEC being paid at 750 splintoshis when it reaches peg, which in my opinion it will. That would be a multiplication, like an increase to that profit that I've garnered over the past weeks or months until it reaches peg. And so I feel as though there are lots of people, hopefully, maybe this is me being hopeful. I'm a person who will make choices in this game that are not optimally profitable, and that will include occasionally not running my bot because I just simply want to enjoy the game I like. And my hope is that there's enough of us out there that that's always an experience. And plus, also, that my hope is that the game will, I guess, continue to iterate on itself in ways that will may perhaps increasingly get us to a place where that is a problem we can solve. But I don't really know that that's ever something that can be solved because I don't understand. Maybe it's my lack of coding, but it seems like bots are here. I don't know what we could do with them. And then we didn't even really get to, but there's the distinction between one man running one bot on one account versus one man running 10 accounts with 10 bots, or 100 or 1,000. And at some point, maybe it's okay. And at another point, I think it's definitely not okay. And this is such a complicated topic, even from like the individual person, let alone the broader economy of this game, and from the developers level saying, but then even if they were to say no, what would that even look like? I feel as though this is such a difficult topic to handle and get our hands around, but I think, I don't know. I think we should move to the conversation of the new reward card. But what do you feel like? There's any last
I would,
thoughts you want to share there, or
yeah, I probably want to introduce two things that I've been trying to wrap my head around for a long time.
okay?
Is currently we have the people using bots because they want to get the max out of their investment. It's simple human nature.
Yeah.
But the question that I ask myself, and I think the Splinterlands team should ask themselves, do we want to change this mindset? And where does this mindset lead us? And the game. Like you mentioned it where it could go, and you're hopeful that some will stay in there, but some are not enough to carry a whole game.
Mm.
Kind of, I want to just let this stay there, and then I was thinking about how about having a different mindset, which say like, it's okay to get only rewards when humans play the game. If we could somehow, I don't know how, it's like a complex dream, I would say. But if everyone would follow this mindset and it would be enforced somehow, then we coming back to the motto of your guild. Then the ones with the biggest time and attention would get the most out of the investment,
Mm-hmm.
which would be something what I would love to see for the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like you said, it's a very, very complicated thing, and there are a lot of stakeholders in the game who have different interests. And there is what I'm lacking for Splinterlands is that there is no clear vision. We're just jumping from one nice feature to the next one, saying like, okay, now we have this promo card. The next thing is, okay, the in-game shop gets updated. Then we have land coming. It's just features. There's no vision.
Mm-hmm.
There's no message.
Mm.
And here I want to conclude. I think as long as we have the current setup and mindset in place, it's going to be very hard to cater to the average player, to the new player, and to the players who are really invested and interested emotionally, who want to play themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to be dominated by people who have invested a lot of money into the game and
Mm-hmm.
simply want the assets to grow and let everything work for themselves.
I think I can say one small thing that hopefully is like a glimmer of hope, but I'm hearing cause for just concern like around this, and like attentiveness from the team is like like the invitation I'm hearing from you. I think it's a beautiful, like, what I'm hearing in you is like a hopefulness and a an eagerness that this would be recognized for the concern that it is. And at least I want you to hear me like I'm hearing it now through this conversation. So my hope is that this video will actually speak to some of the maybe those devs who have said repeatedly, like you said, just beat them. They're not that bad. They actually really are really good. And I've learned that recently, and you've, I think, given strong evidence for that in today's conversation. I like what Butter says, don't feel hopeless, but think an adjustment is needed, or we must join the bot army. And then Eli's like, no, I don't want to join. And I think that's the thing. We have players who you said who are eager to invest their time and attention, who love the idea of what Splinterlands could be and is. And so, yeah, I hope this is taken in that light. I hope, I don't know, Weird Beard, I think Aggie or Matt, somebody sees this and actually he sees that there's a passionate community that want this game for its own sake, not for just the economic reward. Yeah, that's part of this. It always has been. But people say more increasingly, I'm hearing some people in our community say this game's not fun. People are just here for the money. And it's like, that's not my heart at all. I think it's really entertaining and I love it. And I played it every day almost for 4 years straight because of that. And I think there's a community of people who, through a bear market, have supported my channel, have supported all these other growing channels, and they're desperate for this content because they love this game. But they don't. That doesn't mean that. That means they want to play it. And we want more of that, not less of it. And yeah, I don't know what we do, but man, I hope it's seen as a concern, because I'm starting to see it. So thanks for bringing that topic up and for inviting this conversation.